Have any questions on what meant by sample mean, what meant by sample medium, and sample mode? Any questions? As of question, Ravi, Giri, Srikanth. Any questions? Okay. So here, though the median and a mean both are central tendency and giving an average of the value, it is not meaning that both are giving the same values, right? Both are giving the same values. So when we need to use mean, when we need to use median, do you have any question?
I mean, we are getting some huge noise, some disturbance when
Now,
you are speaking.
now it's okay. Now it's clear.
Yeah, when you speak only, we are getting. Yeah, better now. Yeah.
Okay. So when to use mean, when to use median? Any questions on that? Mean is an average. Median is just a middle number. If somebody is asking you when to use mean, when to use median, what scenario?
Yeah, I mean, the extreme value should not be high for mean.
No, that is your correct.
Sorry, for median.
Okay, that is not going to be impact your extreme values. Fine. Now I have data like this. This is mean, right? Average value. Median. Also. Now when to use mean, when to use median in a problem? There are two things, mean and median.
Then we go for mean.
When what scenario? Generally, what scenario we can go for average? What scenario we can go for median? For an example, if government, you are a data scientist for government organization, and now they want to calculate the estimation. They want to forecast how much income tax can be paid by the employees or by the citizens. That time I can go for an average because I have to consider my extreme values. The Dhiru Ambani is paying the tax as well as the poor citizen who is below poverty also paying the tax. So the extreme values also when I want to be considered for my problem statement, then I can go for mean, sample mean. In other way, the government is planning to construct two-bedroom house. For example, Telangana region is decided they want to construct a house for citizens. And now they're coming to you and they're asking you, can you please let me know the code which is a median value for out of all the apartments in Hyderabad? Those scenarios I cannot go for extreme values or I cannot go for the lowest value. I have to go for median value. Or can't I go in the mean based there means no. The reason is there are apartments where you can get for 10 lakhs as well as 10 crores. So extreme values are there which we cannot be consider. So those scenarios I can go for median. Depend on the problem statement, you have to be sometimes you have to be include the extreme values, sometimes you have to exclude the extreme values.
Yes.
Mean or median. This is the example I given here. Sometimes we have to be include, sometimes we have to be exclude. And sample mode. Mode is nothing but a most repeated number in our data. For example, I am collecting a data some reason I forgot to enter the gender, or while uploading the data the gender might be deleted, some reason. Now when you ask the person, the survey person, can you let me know uh, whom you contacted, it's a male people or female, he will say that almost 70% male and 30% female. Then we should be in a position to create a random number, male or female, in our data. That is called sample mode, most repeated numbers in our data. Or I'll say that most of my survey done in Hyderabad, not in Secunderabad. Then I should be in a position to create a random number, maybe Amirpet or some other. You should be in a position to create random number that is nothing but sample, most repeated number in our data. Based on the data which is available, you're going to be create the expected value in the particular data point. Sometimes you may have data like this 2 5 3 5 2 4. So there are two times the 5 has been repeated and two times the 2's are repeated. So your sample mode will be 2 and 5 both. We cannot consider only one. Two numbers are there, so two numbers will maintain. This is called bimodal data. Any questions? Any questions? Now we have one more concept that's called percentile. This is also one of the statistical technique, standard basic statistical technique. Percentile is nothing but you're going to tell you a certain percentile value and you're going to say in how many values are lower than you, how many values are higher than you. If I say 50th percentile, 50th percentile is nothing but a 50th number where we have below 49 and above 49 or 50-50. That's called 50th percentile. Or if I say 100 percentile, that means all the numbers are left side you only, because 100% is nothing but the highest value. If I say 0 percentile, that is nothing but yours one is starting percentile and below you there is no number. After you only there all the numbers are covered. Are you clear what I'm trying to say? That is called percentile. Here we are using percentile in 5 standard formats: 0%, 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. 100% is the highest value, 0% is the initial value, and 50th percent is the median number. 50th percent is the middle number in the entire data set. So here, if I have data here, data. Some data I have. So 0 percentile is nothing but the initial number. 100 percentile is nothing but 20th percentile. 50th percentile, 75 percentile, 100 percentile. 100 percentile is nothing but the highest value in our data. So when you have a data, maintain in case if you are doing hand calculation, maintain the data in ascending order and take the last number, that is not the maximum number. 20th. Why should I believe you? So what I'll do is, here I have a concept called percentile. Percentile, all the data, comma, fifth one. 20th. Here 1 is nothing but 100%. 0 is nothing but 0%. 15 is nothing but 0.5%. So 20 is showing. This is the maximum number. And percentile 0 is nothing but percentile of all the data, 0. Similarly, 0.25. 0.5. 0.75. Now here this is value is nothing but maximum number what I told you, and this is called minimum number. And 50th number is nothing but middle number of nothing but median. So I'll maintain the median. So you can see here my minimum number is nothing but the percentile of 0, and the maximum number is nothing but a percentile of 100, and the middle number is nothing but median. The 50th percentile is nothing but a median. All my quartiles are percentiles. I represent 5 quartiles: first quartile, second quartile, third quartile, fourth quartile, and fifth quartile. These are the quartiles: 0 percentile, 25 percentile, 50th percentile, 75 percentile, and 100 percentile. What is the purpose of this means? By seeing this number, I can able to tell you how many are below the values, how many are above values. So from here I can say below I have so many numbers. 50% of the people are lesser than 10.5% of salary. Are getting? Are getting or not? If I want to know the average income of a citizen who is living in India, I can say 50% of the employees are getting less than 10.5 lakhs, because 50th percentile is nothing but a median number, middle number. Roshan, Sri, Ravi, Giri are getting or not?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So, if you want to see the data which is above than you or lesser than you can use percentiles to analyze the data. So 0%, 25%, 50%, 75%, 100%. 0% you understand is the minimum number which we can get. Maximum number is nothing but 100%. Median is nothing but 50th percentile. Between 0% and 50th percentile, the middle number of 0 and 50th percentile will call as 25 percentile. So if you take the data between 1 to 10.5, the middle number is 5.75 in this data. In this data, middle number is 5.7. Roshan, you had mute. Thank you. So the middle number between 0 to 50 will call it as a 25 percentile. The middle number, median again between these two. Similarly, between 50 to 700, the middle number is 75 percentile. So between 10 to 20. Any questions on this? Sri Roshan, Ravi Giri.
No, Amar. Okay, carry on.
Yeah. So here you can see the. So if you have 100 percentile and if you want to find out the 90 percentile, then your p value, percentile value is 0.9. Here I maintain the value as 0.75 because I want 75 percentile. If you have some specific value like 90, if you want to know, then maintain percentile of entire data, comma 0.9. So this is your 90th percentile value. That means there are 10% citizens who are getting salary more than 18.1 lakhs. Or 95%, 90% of the citizens are getting lesser than 18 lakhs salary. If you want to know how many people are getting less than 15 lakhs in IBM, you can go for percentile. How many percentage of the people you can able to tell? Either 10%, 30%, or 50%. You can able to tell that. Clear? Any questions? 0 percentile, 25 percentile, 50 percentile, 75 percentile, 100 percentile, 90 percentile, and the percentile what you want. So if you want to see below 15%, then you have to go for somewhere around 70 or 75. So around at 75 percentile level, 75 percentage of the people who getting salary less than 15 lakhs in IBM. Only 25% of the people are earning more than 15, because 75 percentile when I'm mentioning, that means there are 25% or rest of the people which are above higher than the 15.25. So if you want to interpret something which is above or less, then you can use percentile concept, which is going to be easiest way. In our concept, sometimes you can hear the name called percentile, and sometimes you can hear the name called quartiles. Percentiles, if you are giving the percentile number like 0, 90, 80, 70, 75, 25, 50, if you are mentioning a number, we will represent with a name called percentile. If you are using standard numbers like a 25, 50, 75, then we'll call it as a quartiles. There are 5 quartiles: 0%, 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100%. 25% is nothing but the first quartile, 50% is nothing but the second quartile, 75% is nothing but the third quartile. Clear? Any questions? Here in central tendency we discussed so far.
Okay.
We discussed about mean, median, mode. Only these three we discussed so far. Mean is nothing but average. Median is nothing but this data. Mode is nothing but most repeated number. If you have it to display, or else to show as not applicable. Your central tendency always talks about summary of your data. What is there in your data? It never talks about how much error you have in your data. Currently, I can see the summary. Right now I have 20 data. I can able to, by seeing this one, I can able to tell there is an error or not. But how can I know how much data have an error? Is there any outlier in this? For example, there is a typo mistake. Instead of 10, he might be entered 100. By seeing this mean and median, I may not be able to come to the conclusion. It's a typo mistake by data entry person. So how can I come to the conclusion on this? So to come to the conclusion, there is a concept called dispersions or variability. So dispersions or variability always talks about how much error you have in your data. The first one is a range, minimum, maximum. Then second one is standard deviation, variance, coefficient of correlation. These are the concepts we can able to get it in dispersions. These are techniques. So with the help of these techniques, I can able to compute how much error I have in my data. Right now, purposefully, I enter the data of 100, but without seeing this data, because I have lakhs of data, without seeing this data, I should be in a position to tell there is an error. So range is nothing but the difference between the minimum number and a maximum number. Minimum number in this is 1. Maximum number is this 100. So range is nothing but maximum number minus a minimum number. Don't you think the data has been spread? The 20 data has been spread for 99, all the way from 1 to 100. 99 it has been spread. If I have 10 here, my data is spread for 19 only. So the data length, the spread of the length also is small. So your dispersions always suggest if your data spreading is less, then data qualities might be more. So right now I'll come back to 100 only. Now the second one is called variance. How much data has been spread from the mean average? So variance always talks from the average or from the sample mean, how much the distance, the variance between your data point to your average. So from 15 to 1, how much distance is there? From 15 to 2, how much distance you have? From 15 to 4, how much distance you have? You are going to be calculate. Definitely the difference will be more when you come to 15 to 100. Are you accepting that? When you come to 15 to 10, the difference will be less. But when you come to 15 to 100, the difference will be more. Just minus 100 minus 15. The difference is more. The deviation is more.
Yeah.
So the same examples also I given here. There are some data. One data set called A have 12566 and a data set called B have minus 42 35 all the way. Here when I take a sample mean for data set A I got 4, data set B I have 4. Median is also 5 5. We cannot, but without seeing this data I can assume both are same data or same kind of data. But if we are in a wrong assumption, the data might be have some dispersions. So are these data sets are same? No, because the you can see here 1 to 6 the difference is only 5, the length is 5. Minus 40 to 35 means almost 70 length is there. Minus 40 to 10. So you can see the range here. For data set A, the length is maximum minus minimum, that is called 6 minus 1, 5. For a range for a B is 35 minus of minus 40, that is called 75. So the length is different. And we have one more concept called IQR. IQR is nothing but the difference between 75% quartile to 25% quartile. 75 quartile minus 25% quartile. Third quartile minus third first quartile. That is called IQR. That is also one kind of measurement. We can see what is the 50% of values are captured. 75 minus 50 is nothing but 50 values. 75 percentile to 25% percentile value. So 50% quartile percentile, how much values has been holded. So here I can say there are 4 values have been holded, and here I can say 20 values have been holded. So because my 25th quarter is 0, so this is the difference. Can I get any inputs from here means range and IQR may not give the inputs as you expected, so there are some drawbacks. The reason is this is similar like your median. Sometimes this IQR and range might neglect your highest extreme values, maybe lowest extreme or highest extreme values. So to avoid that kind of issues because of those drawbacks, we have one more concept called variance. So what variance will do is variance is going to be calculate how much the distance is from the average from the each data point, and we are going to be square that and divide by count. That is called variance. Variance always referred with s square, small s square. It's not a capital, it's a small s square. So you can see here I have a data here 12566 some value. My average is 4. If I take an average of these values, my average is 4. So 1 minus 4 is minus 3, 2 minus 4 is minus 2, 5 minus 4 is 1, 6 minus 4 is 2, 6 minus 4 is 2. So this is my difference. And we are going to square this difference and divide by n minus 1. If it's a sample variance, we have to divide with n minus 1. If it's a population variance, we are going to be calculate with n. And here, why we need to calculate with the square? Why not we can take this one means, if you take these values directly and divide, it is going to be a 0. You can see here. Wrong calculation I given and right calculation I given. So when I add all together and divide by the count minus 1, n minus 1, it will lead to 0 only. You can take n number of quantity. The answer will be same. So to avoid that, we'll square it, then divide. The variance will never change. It will be same, 5.5. Clear? Any questions? So I can say the variance is 5.5 here, and when you come to my question, here I have an example here. This example, my average is minus this one. If I use F4 button, I'll get a dollar mark. Dollar is nothing but I'm going to fix that particular value or a cell as a constant. Then square it. Then sum it. Sum it. My variance will be this minus this by my 20 values, right? 20 minus 1, that is called 19 values, 19. So my variance is more. Here also I'll maintain my variance. Where if I use var.p, that's for population, that's nothing but calculating with n value, capital N value. Var is nothing but for sample. So you can see the same value. Now instead of this, if I have 100, instead of 100, I have 10. So you can see the variance is small amount. So just since because of typo error, my variance is huge, I can say there is a deviation in my data. So I can see I need to focus on my data for finding an outlier or an extreme value. Are you clear? Yeah. Any questions?
No questions yet. Clear.
And the standard deviation is nothing but a square root of the variance. Why we are using standard deviation variance means, when you come to variance, some people say in miles, some people say kilometer. The units might be different. And if you want to standardize that units and represent in one units, standardize units and maintain one units, the best way of method is standard deviation than when compared to variance. So standard deviation, let me show as standard deviation of these values. Here what I'll do, I'll maintain square root of these values. You can find the same values. Square root of variance is nothing but the standard deviation. What is the difference between variance and standard deviation? Variance always talks how much the data, whatever you maintain data point, is far from the average you're trying to tell in variance. It can have, if you have 100 data points in 100 columns, may have different units like miles, kilometers, and some other values. But when you come to standard deviation, it is going to be standardize the values and represent in one unit. So always we'll see the standard deviation than variance. Now you can see instead of 100, if I maintain 10 only, now you can see how much deviation is there? 5% deviation from the average. The data has been deviated only 5%. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Any questions?
So Amar, if sample variance is less than the maximum value, then it is correct data or something like that?
No. You see, first one thing is your data will not be zero. First thing. If it's closer to
Okay.
zero, that is acceptable. See, when you have an error, the error should be minimized, right? As much as possible. So when you have huge variance, huge difference, that means there is an outlier in your data. First thing. And second thing is, it is not possible to make you as zero. If you're making as zero means all the values should be same only, like 20 to 20 only, or every
Okay.
value should be 1. See, now you can see variance is 0 because all the values are same, and you cannot expect the same sales every day. It can be fluctuate.
Okay.
So we are trying to figure out how much less variance and how much less standard deviation we can get it, but how much we can accept, how much deviation we can accept. That is also important. In winter, I have more sales, and in summer I have less sales. How much deviation I can accept? Whether the employee is doing the sales or not. You conducted a campaign, and whether employee is doing the sales or not, we don't know. So by seeing his sales records and seeing the sales forecast or sales data, we can forecast whether he's performing well or not. In demonstration time, the sales
Okay.
was for a gold business, it was huge, which we now nobody expected, even the gold shop person not expected. Is that sales has accepted for this means? No, we cannot accept, because if I take consider that sales, it may give wrong results for next year sales, which is not going to be happen. So that amount, for example, your gold sales is like something like 1 every year 1, but only because of demonetization last year December it was 10. Now you can see there is a standard deviation and variance. But generally you're supposed to get 1 because of demonetization, or everybody invested in gold. So you have a standard deviation. This much data has been
Okay.
deviated. So how much we can accept, how much error we can accept? This is called error. This is not the actual sales. The 10 is not the actual sales. This is an error. How much we can accept? This is important. That is called standard error, which we'll discuss in next class. Till this you understand whatever we covered. Till this concept.
Yeah, Amar.
Now, not for today. I'll share you one data set for you tomorrow. That data set will contain a questionnaire, a structured questionnaire, and you have to come up with an answer. That is conducted by TCS, and you cannot project that. I recommend not to mention that. You can consider that data set as a dummy data set, not for your project, just for your practice, which I'm going to share you tomorrow. So I recommend you people to complete the data set and come up with a solution. Either it's the right solution or wrong solution, whatever it may be. Just start working with the awareness. And the persons who downloaded the SPSS software, let me know so that I can install right away.
We haven't.
It is there in Google Drive. It's there. It is there in Google Drive. You can get it, download it. And how to install means there is a README. This is called key. Just copy this key before installing anything. Just copy this key. Control C and go to setup. When you go to setup, you have an option called setup. You can see this color should be there. There are two setups here. Take the setup where you have an application. Click on that. Just select all the accepts wherever it's asking approvals and everything. Just click on that. The final screen, it will ask you the key. The key is nothing but just what you copied. Just go for Control V and say OK. Question 3, Giri, are you getting? Ravi? Once,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, did you ask us to install SPSS yesterday?
yes, you have to install
Hmm.
it, or let me know. I can make you as a presenter. We can install it right away.
Yeah, we can do it. I mean,
Yeah,
SPSS
it's
free
okay,
download.
Amarnadh.
I'm not getting you.
We can try now if you want my system. SPSS download latest version. Shall I go for latest version?
No, don't go for latest because the key supports only the current version, which I shared you. I'm making you as a presenter. Is it okay?
Yeah, yeah. You see?
Yes. Go to the software. No, don't go for web app. In Google Drive, I shared you. These are
Sorry?
these softwares are like you can say free trials. Maybe work for some time. But the software
Okay.
which I shared you
Where
is
is
for
the
1
link?
year. In Google Drive, it's there.
Google Drive it's there. Okay. I didn't know.
You don't need to worry about any software. It will come automatically to your Google Drive. Copy that one. Control C. Now go to setup.
Yeah, yeah.
Here find out the setup option. First you have to download that
Setup.
entire folder. No. First you have to download entire folder. Then you can do it. Download entire folder. SPSS folder. Entire SPSS folder you can download.
Yeah, I tried that. I clicked on that
No.
SPSS.
Don't go to Google directly. Just go to SPSS folder. Download that software folder right to your desktop. Then you can do it. Download option is there. Last but one.
Yeah, man, we can do it actually. We
Yeah.
can do it.
Thank
I
you.
don't want others to wait.